Hey, everybody! I just wanted to show you this. This is digital storage. So, you know how there's tapes, and there's a reel with another reel, and you store information. Now there's digital storage.
Multiple RAMs in there.
It's
So much RAM and ROM.
It's kind of convenient.
That's read-only memory.
And I like it. It's ROM.
Random access memory. Tons
CD-ROM
of
or
it.
CD-RAM? How much RAM?
Read-only memory more than random access
ROM-only memory. We have a computer here with some questions on it. So let
We've
me
got a
just.
computer there that takes photos and videos of us.
It's got
live.
some ROM in there too.
Yeah, ramen.
It's got some ramen.
4 days till I can
Everybody
eat ramen.
Gave really good feedback on the Chuck cast, and
Well, yeah, they
every
learned
time
it.
we have Chuck on, really good feedback. So that's why we said, "Fuck Chuck, dude, we're not bringing him back."
Yeah, we're like, Chuck, stop with the
Chuck-
statistics. You're making us look bad.
I'm trying to be popular, okay? Like we're trying to make this about us.
But he gave him some nice, nice
you know,
info.
the Chuck eclipsing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
But
Chuck's-
we got some knowledge and some nugs
Chuck's
for you
dropping
guys today.
He's dropping knowledge. How's your day, dude?
My day has been great. We looked at a potential site for our next location.
Yeah, we did.
We got our little mini vision goggles on, and then we went and looked at our plans for our current, for sure, third location, lease signed on the old west side. That's one of these. And then we worked on some artwork there. And then, classic owner meeting, classic Friday.
When we were looking through the building, it got me thinking about how cool would it be when you get to the point where you're able to like build to suit
Oh, man.
and not just going into a shell that somebody else designed. Because we're going to make it awesome, but there's always these weird little things where you're like, why did they put this
Yeah.
here? What is this like structural thing?
To work around.
Yeah.
Totally.
I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing?
Let's just get our own building one day
Let's get our own building.
and then make it happen.
Buy
It'd
that
be like
land.
The fun factory.
Really, seriously. Hey, they got gas going into our roastery now.
Gas is capped. We're going to lock it in with some tubing.
About to move that bad boy. we snubbed it.
Yeah, we're approximately, a month away from a new roastery. Not a built-out roastery, an effectively
roasting
working
place.
roasting operation.
Dude, that's going to be freaking tight.
This roastery is
Tight
fully
like a tiger.
operational.
Tight like a tiger.
Witness the full power of our roasting operation.
Thunder kick.
That was a very good Star Wars.
Was it?
The fully operational San Franciscan Luke Skywalker.
Who's that guy?
Luke Skywalker or
The other
Senator Palpatine, a.k.a. the bad guy?
Palpatine.
I'm
I'm having heart palpitines. It's beating out of my chest. My heart is.
lightning face.
Like,
Lightning to face. Ultimate force lightning.
dude,
All right.
let's get into it. This guy
We got
asked,
some questions.
hey guys, always love the podcast and what you guys do. Would love to hear a little bit on the podcast about some of the best qualities in employees you've had. What are the specific qualities you keep an eye out for, and how do you decide where people with those characteristics fit into the overall framework of Cat and Cloud? Much love.
Great question.
Great question, Nick.
That question's a multi-parter. So in order to even work at Cat and Cloud, you have to exhibit a lot of the values that we've kind of infused into the the interview process.
Yeah, look into values-based hiring.
So start there. But I'd say just off the top of my head, teachability and the respect meaning that they understand that Chris and myself and Charles have a lot more time in the industry and that we have intention to the things we do, and kind of trusting the process of our thoughts and our vision is really huge. So those two things together garner like a really trusted workforce, especially in the leadership level for me, right? There's going to be times when you and I give them
For
weird
sure.
things to do, and they're going to be like, okay, I'm not quite there yet, and to just somehow start without fully understanding it. And we always put in the work to continue to like give people the information and let them connect it to Z. But occasionally we have to get started on things before they fully have their minds around like the long play. So those two things have been the biggest contributors for me as of in this current junction.
Yeah, and then on on keeping an eye out, getting them, and like how do we decide where those people fit into the framework? It's interesting because everyone starts in the exact same place. So if you start at Cat and Cloud, you're working in the retail store and you're starting behind the bar just like everybody else. And then from there, it's kind of as opportunities present themselves and as you prepare yourself or like make people aware of the skills that you have, you can kind of snag some opportunities as they come along. And not every opportunity is like leading to a new job, right? So there's only so many quote unquote special or higher level or upper management, I don't know, whatever you want to call them, jobs you want to say in a cafe. So it's really about finding people who can do certain projects really well, and then using their strengths in those projects. Am I right on that?
Yeah, it's 100% how we roll.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, because what we do like to do is share the opportunity for people to grow and be engaged in different portions of our company without necessarily having to move out of a position. So, for instance, I own the company along with Chris and Charles, but I still make coffee at both of our stores as a barista, and I work underneath my managers when I do that. If there's something big that happens on the floor, I still don't bogart my manager's leadership. I talk to them after and I say, hey, I'd like something to run differently. Here's why and how. But it's their job to run that in the same way I would have many different people and have had many different people help us manage and run an event. And we pay them at a higher level to take that on, but they don't necessarily have to be like an events coordinator for Cat and Cloud to be an events coordinator for Cat and Cloud.
Right.
You know?
For sure.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yep. So I think that kind of answers your question. It's also, I think, a way for us to be able to long-term be able to pay a higher hourly wage when you can have a lot of people who are multifaceted in your business. We've talked about it over and over again. I still believe in it.
Fucking dial, bro. This one is an East Coast, West Coast thing.
Nice. Simon Sinek wrote us.
Simon Sinek. So before we get into this, we're both West Coasters, okay? So this is going to be biased, all right? We're both California grown over here. Simon says,
Simon says die. Simon Phoenix. Demolition Man.
Simon, you set me up for that one. Hi, guys. I moved to Brooklyn from San Francisco last year and can't find much good cafes near me.
Much good cafes.
That's what it says. Much good cafes near me. Manhattan and Brooklyn. So far, I only like Blue Bottle and Brooklyn Roasting Company. Why do you guys think that compared to San Francisco, which has Blue Bottle, Ritual, 4 Barrel, Sight Glass, Verve, etc., New York doesn't have as much good specialty coffee shops? Do you guys have any recommendations in New York City? Thank you. Let's do Rex first. Toby's Estate.
Toblerones.
Brooklyn. They're in Brooklyn, so they're near you. Manhattan, we went to Little Collins when we were there. It was like a really cool little shop. There is, I'm so ill prepared for this question. There's a lot of coffee, actually.
Isn't Third Rail over there or something like that?
Third Rail's somewhere over there. I'm trying to think of the one that I went to.
Well, how has he not been to Everyman?
Everyman is a great one to go to.
Everyman's fantastic. What about Grumpy? What about, I mean, you didn't say what you've gone to, so I guess this is also going to not help if you've already gone to all those.
This is what you do. You go to Toby's in Brooklyn, and then you go in, and then you talk to the barista there, and you say, hey, where do I go for coffee? Like the real deal. Like, what am I doing here? And then you use referrals through the barista system.
Find Astrid.
Find Astrid. I don't know if she makes coffee anymore.
She tattoos like a boss. Find her anyway.
You can get a great stick and poke tattoo, and I tell you, her art is fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it's so good.
So tight. It's like so amazing and unique and like weird and awesome.
I want her to give me a tattoo.
I don't have any tattoos, but I was like borderline like that'd be kind of cool.
She's good at tattoos.
Yeah.
She's a great tattooer.
It's pretty interesting that they're all stick and poke because it seems like that'd be really hard to do.
Right.
I don't know if it's harder than using a gun. I don't know anything about tattoos.
So here's another thing. When I read your email, you're talking about, I don't know, a comparison of flavors in a way. And you're in a different place. So you might have just grown accustomed to how certain coffees taste. And I would say, I mean, Blue Bottle, Ritual, 4 Barrel, and Sight Glass and Verve, they're not the exact same, but there's a lot of similarities in flavor profiles in those coffees, I feel like, a lot of the time. You might just be in a place where people drink different style of coffee. And I don't know if that's true. I haven't experienced it as much as you. But you might just be having that whole like newness thing.
Or the scope of New York might be a weird thing. Like San Francisco is a city, but it's really small.
Yeah, you can get everywhere.
It's not very big footprint wise. So you've got all these places that are kind of concentrated into a little area. And when you go to New York, it's just ridiculous how much bigger it is than San Francisco. So you've got to cover more ground. But if you rewind to back in, 2005, 2006, 2007, the West Coast definitely had a jump on the specialty coffee reformation or whatever you want to call it. And New York had 9th Street Espresso, and Grumpy was kind of starting to come out of that era. But aside from that, there wasn't a whole lot of movement.
Right.
I talked to Withers a little bit, and he's like, it's because the water's so bad.
Well,
He says
cool,
the
man.
water's so bad that it makes a lot of the coffee taste worse than it should.
And that might
There's
be
a
the
problem
truth.
with the water. So I don't know if that's true, but I'm inclined to believe this individual. He also commented on the food culture over there, that even though like the bar and restaurant scene is really developed and they're killing it in some things like cocktails,
Right.
you can get, a ton of really good ones. Food and the coffee that's attached to that is attached to a really West Coast scene, because in the Bay Area here, we're so close to like really fresh produce and really fresh farmland. And
Right.
in Manhattan, you kind of got to go upstate, I guess. I don't know how the farmland over there
No, I think it's upstate. and
works, but
I think we also have way more, temperate winters, so we get a lot better consistent produce year round.
and you got some of the founders of that, like, what do you call that food movement that's like not third wave food, but like when Alice Waters is doing Chez Panisse,
Right,
and
the
it's
Chez
like
Panisse.
the farm to table, like the real legit, I guess you call it farm to table,
I think it was
sound
the
like
farm to table
sound like an
original.
asshole.
I know.
It's farm to table.
Did you guys know that it's farm to fork now?
It's farm to fork now. It's farm to barn. it's farm to face.
I am
I
pompous.
put it. Can you tell I'm an asshole? Because I
How?
definitely am. That's how I try to figure out, because I get my meat at El Salsachero, and I
Yeah.
want to tell people that I go to the artisan butcher shop without saying that I go to the artisan butcher
No,
shop.
I get clean meat.
Because I don't. Yeah, that's probably a good way.
I go to
put
the
it.
clean meat store.
I get certified clean meat. It's got bleach on it.
Ugh.
They just rub it down in
Whoa.
a nice bleach marinade and then cook that shit out. Yeah,
It's Whole 30 certified, you guys.
but a lot of that stuff is birthed out of the West Coast.
It's interesting.
I feel like coffee in some way is tied to that. I don't know why.
Yeah. I also don't know what you mean by good cafes. Are you talking service as well? Because I've also been told many a time over that people don't care nearly as much about service in New York as they do on the West Coast, and that could be a factor that plays into your adjustment over there. Like maybe the coffee actually tastes similarly good, but you don't feel as good going into the cafes and leaving, and you don't feel special like some of these places make you feel. So I know that is a subconscious effector of how flavor works. Whether anybody believes it or not, I believe it to be true.
So like everyone in New York's just a dick. You
Well,
you guys suck.
It is a total cliche that people use on, in all the movies that I watch. It's like you go in and you get to the front of the line. If you don't know what you want, they basically kick you out of line. If you're like, I have a question, There's
Yeah.
always jokes about that. And everybody's all, get the fuck out of here.
But then wouldn't you think that that's like more of a culturally accepted thing in those areas? Because like people,
It probably is.
they like deal with that no matter what they do. Oh,
Yeah.
but he's attuned to West Coast
That's what I'm
service.
saying. So he's
Yeah.
over there and he's all, man, this is hard.
He's like, why does everybody hate me?
Yeah, in case you were wondering, that's your voice now, Simon.
This is me. It's me, Simon.
Simon.
I'm just trying to get some coffee, guys, and I just don't know
love
where to go. And I love technology, but not as much as you and me.
West Coast
I'm totally
coffee.
spacing on the places I went in New York, but there is a decent amount of good coffee. So I don't know how to answer that, but go to Toby's, start there. Go to Everyman, start there.
Why didn't you go to Stumptown?
He got scared of the annex, dude. It
They have
says I
Stumptown
was
over there.
scared of the annex for sure. Yeah, there's Stumptown on 8th that has the annex next to it, which would be a really good place to taste different coffees.
Has to be some good counterculture coffee besides Everyman. Wait, does Everyman roast their own? Or they use counterculture?
Everyman, I don't even know. I think they use Counterculture. If I can remember, Little Collins uses Counterculture.
Yeah,
And they have
dude.
cups with happy faces on them. So if you
Oh,
want to
yeah,
get
they're
hyper
great.
psyched,
That's
yeah.
those people.
Shout out to Mark Gessler. He bought one of those,
Mac G.
brought it all the way back home.
That's a good question.
That is a great question. Let us know what you find out. I want to know.
Tell us. One more from Marty Sanders.
This one is funny. That's why I want to read it. It's a long question, but I love it. Someone will keep him.
I made that name up in case everybody was wondering.
Oh, Marty? It's not Marty.
This is not a real
Well,
person.
actually, as far as you know,
Sure.
it is Marty.
Thank you, Marty.
So Marty Sanders says he just listened to the podcast, Starting Your Coffee Career, and addressed that question, but he's got the same question in reverse, which is basically not how to start your coffee career, but how to end your coffee career, which made me chuckle to myself.
Me too.
Just got laid off at the beginning of January because of some things. I don't want to expose
Yep,
like
we're
too
not
much of this
exposing
person's
Marty.
life because Marty Sanders he gets his privacy. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
dude.
saying?
Marshall Sanders.
Endgame, he wants to know how to make a gracious exit, and I'm having a really hard time identifying how skills directly transfer to other industries so I can actually make a living. Part of this is because I don't really want to move on, but I feel like I kind of need to, and that there's no financial viability in what he's doing because of the companies that he's been involved with. It's hard being creative about this when it feels like your industry is breaking up with you. Other folks in my life have suggested the nebulous consulting track.
Don't do it.
Fucking do that. It's the worst thing ever.
Don't waste your time.
Which seems real unlikely given the current landscape, and opening my own shop isn't really within my grasp, unless you guys know where I can find approximately a suitcase and a half full of cash. That'd be great.
I'm looking for a suitcase and a half full of cash myself.
This is a tricky one. It would be interesting to know what your other skills are besides coffee. Are you a designer? Can you do extraordinary superhuman feats like 200 pull-ups in a row unbroken? No kipping.
Can you answer no? 11, sure. Totally. I mean, you have to have some skills, bow staff, nunchuck, something to go along with your life.
This is why I think the stuff that we talk about that doesn't have anything to do with coffee is so important, not just for people who are trying to make a living and like do something huge, but for someone who's going to move on. Like we have a core group of people that are going to be with us for a really long time. But the realities of our business state that I don't think it's foolish to think that everyone that we hire is going to be with us forever.
It's impossible.
But that doesn't mean that we can't make an impact of on their lives, and it doesn't mean they can't take skills and transfer them. And it's exactly the same reason why if you're a fucking full-blown coffee nerd and you want to spend like 30 extra hours a week digging into refractometers and figuring out how to do pour-overs and honing your espresso, I would suggest taking 2/3 of that and actually allocate that towards learning other things that don't have anything directly to do with coffee.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely have to build your life skills around the coffee industry in general. I mean, most of the stuff we do is not coffee nerd related, and most of the stuff you do probably shouldn't have been either.
So if you take Caroline as an example, Caroline is she was one of the first wave of hires. She worked in our cafe, still works for the coffee company, and she does a lot of admin stuff for Charles specifically.
Right.
So when and if she exits, she's going to have on her resume and in her skill set, not just like, okay, cool, I can make a cappuccino, but it's like, I'm really skilled at Excel. I understand communication really awesome. Like, I keep up with people. It's just kind of managing things around.
Created
like kind
systems.
Yeah. And maybe you can do something in the executive assistant kind of like realm. So like my wife, as an example, Jenny is like the executive assistant to the CEO for the company she works at, but she'd never done AE work before. It was all human resources and office-based, just different kinds of office-based things. And she worked for Cal Poly for a while at school. And on paper, she's totally underqualified for the job in terms of it's like, you need X amount of years of experience as a executive assistant. But because of the skill stack, it ended up working out.
Right.
So aside from just making it a point to go out and learn those skills, so maybe you're not in Caroline's shoes, like maybe you're just a production barista, but tapping into whoever's around you, like tapping into the owners, be like, hey, like, can you show me how the P&L works? Hey, could you show me like how much rent do you pay and like how does that work with that? And just almost just like acquiring more skills. It can't be bad.
No, and I think that there's places on the most base level, you can always jump into the alcohol scene if you're of age, which you don't know.
That's a pretty good idea, yeah.
I mean, it's really straightforward in that if you are going to be able to geek out on the different coffees and varieties, you can geek out on the same thing in wine specifically really easily, and spirits as well. And there's money to be had in alcohol, which is, I think, why you see a lot of baristas transfer over there, specifically for the money, not even always for the passion, and then they become extremely passionate. If you really want to talk about something like alcohol, you could reach out to people like Brandon Paul Weaver and those people who have done both. I know they like to be resources, and they should be able to help you out in some way, give you some information or some direction if you wanted to go that way. But I have to believe that if you became more than just a barista, or even if you were hired at said location, that you have to have some form of good customer service. You have to have some.
He was mostly a roaster, though. He says he
Okay.
didn't really do much
roasted the hot bean?
baristing. Yeah, 6 years.
6 years of roasting?
Mostly on the back end of the
So
business.
you have to understand, hopefully, depending on what your business did, you have to understand. Yeah. You have to understand some of the chemical reactions. You have to understand forecasting. You have to do you have to be able to do some math. You have to be organized. You have to be able to, bag and prep your days and be efficient. Unless all of this stuff was, falling short, and that's why you don't work with this company anymore, which it doesn't sound like is the case. Like, you probably have more to offer than you realize, and you just have to decide what you're passionate about next.
Yeah, it's interesting when you say spent most of my time on the back end of the business. It makes me question what back end business stuff you did. And I guess you could throw coffee out of the equation. So if someone asked you, like, what do you do? Oh, I'm a coffee roaster. Just like forget about that and think about the things that you did in that job that weren't specifically roasting coffee, and that is your skill stack.
Right.
And then you can take that skill stack when you're reaching out into other career fields, because I don't know what your interests are. We just don't know, or whatever special skills you have.
I don't know you, Marty.
But you could probably make a resume using that skill stack to get into something else, because there's some things that are, if you're managing green coffee, you have to be a highly organized
Right.
individual.
Yeah.
You have to understand cash flow.
Right.
You there's a lot of things that go into managing a roastery or being a coffee roaster. So
You could be a food buyer. There's a lot
That's a great suggestion,
of
too.
rollover in these jobs. And so it's just to gracefully exit coffee, here's what you do. Stop working in it.
just stop working in it. Go, well, I also think of how many people enter into coffee that don't know anything about it,
Right.
and excel. And
Yeah.
it's not even just at barista positions. I mean, dude, just fucking look at like 8 out of 10 people's wholesale departments. Those people aren't coffee people, and they're certainly aren't baristas, most of them.
And a lot of them
You know what I
probably
mean?
aren't even salespeople
They're just people.
originally. They're just human beings.
They're just lost roasters who couldn't find a job somewhere.
In fact, at this point, you've already heard what we said before. Some of the biggest things that we see in our people that are positive attributes are being teachable and trusting the process. And then I'd call passion and ability to work hard to achieve something as, really high up there.
What would you do? What would you do if you didn't work in coffee anymore?
Food.
100%.
Food, or I'd actually probably get a job in some form of Disney and like figuring out innovation and things like that.
I'm gonna figure out innovation
I
for
will.
you.
I'm gonna figure it out.
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna come up with
figure out innovation.
user experience in creating rides and upgrading their parks.
You could have a drive-through, drive-up. Why don't they have concession at Disney? Like, why don't they have someone on roller skates that brings you lemonade while you're waiting in line for the Matterhorn?
Great question.
You know what I mean?
I feel like somebody would be on blades with skis.
Yeah, something like that with the goggles and everything.
I think-
like skis with rollers.
I guess you'd have to have like the appropriate apparel for the land you're in. That'd be sick, dude. Somebody rolls up on a horse and just like drops drops part of the saddle, and on the side of the horse is just some rawhide beef jerky and something else.
Welcome to Frontierland.
Exactly, hard-boiled pickled eggs.
But if you're in, where's Space Mountain? Tomorrowland? Is that a land?
Uh-huh, that's a land.
Yeah, you have
A land of
astronaut
tomorrow.
food,
Yeah.
like
I think maybe
freeze-dried
they're
ice
like-
cream.
Dippin'
Tastes like
Dots, the
chalk.
ice cream of the future. They come and just like give you a Dippin' Dot shot. You're all,
I went straight to your mouth, dude.
frozen.
They're all just say when. Just say when.
$5 for a 5-ounce.
I wonder if it is if it's a thing to where you have to have such an attuned service staff because you don't know when to break into someone's family circle or not.
Right.
Right. You're standing in a line with 2 kids and your husband, and then it's just like, hey, you guys want some ice cream?
Yeah, and then the kids are all, yeah!
Yeah. And they're like,
all,
no.
and then the whole thing's ruined.
They're like,
They're all, "Ah!"
They like hate you forever.
That's probably what the reason
You're
they
like,
stopped doing
Disneyland
that.
fucking ruined my life. They're just giving my kids sugar, and I had to spend $35 on the fly that I wasn't planning on spending.
They
That
forced
might
me
be
to
a
do it.
reason
That's
for
probably
it.
It's like, make sure. I mean, they used to do weird stuff. You used to be able to go fishing at Disneyland and actually catch fish.
That's epic.
It was super epic until everybody caught fish in the morning and was like, I don't want to carry around a fish all day, and
There's
start
dead
throwing
fish.
fish everywhere. They're all, yeah, we should probably not do this.
What would be? How cool would it be if they had a one stand that's like a fish cleaning service where you take the fish there
Smells amazing.
and they like clean it for you, and then they smoke it for
Yeah,
you,
yeah, like a
and then they
nice
give you
smoked
like
trout,
smoked trout.
smoked
You take it
catfish.
home and eat it.
Yeah, dude. They'd be 3-eyed for sure.
The complete experience. That's a real theme park. That's like
They used
in
to have
Walt's
real
era.
horses and all that for people to ride. They
That's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, and then everybody starts suing everybody. 'cause
someone
the
died
world
on a horse.
Yeah, that's a problem today is that everybody wants to be mad about something, so you can't appease everybody. So they're trying to do their best.
Why is everybody so mad?
Because they're all mad.
At some point, you need to expect some sort of responsibility for just a base level of intelligence. You know what I'm saying? It's just like there's some shit that you don't do, and maybe this is like old timey stuff. Like my grandparents had horses,
Right.
and it's like you don't walk directly behind the horse,
Yeah.
because that shit might kick
Or
you.
else, cha-chow!
And if you walk behind the horse and you got kicked, it was your fault. It's not the horse's fault. It's just like,
Stupid
dude,
horse got me again.
like respect, dude.
Yeah.
You can't go suing people because you walk behind the horse or you stepped in horse poop or whatever else you did that got you mad.
Fly.
I could see like getting on a horse and just having it like ride away. You're like, later. There goes my
Lost
child.
my group. I don't know
Out
where
in the
to
middle of
go.
nowhere. Where'd it go?
It's just like live and
It's
cruising
just-
the park. You
It
can't get
never
off.
stops.
Why is there a horse in Tomorrowland?
It goes
I
like
don't know.
off some weird cliff. Starts climbing the mountain. It's like on the
You're the
old
Matterhorn.
Frontier Rail. What's the train roller
yeah,
coaster?
Thunder Mountain.
Thunder Mountain. It's like
So good.
walking through the little portal. Like
Gets hit by a car.
Boom.
Yeah, we've seen the problem.
Drops the kid off on the track, and
Like,
then the kid gets hit by the car.
Oh,
It's just all
Nightmare.
bad. It can be all bad.
Only the professionals ride the live animals.
I think electric fences would solve a lot of those problems.
I don't know. Have you seen Jurassic Park, dude? I don't think they help anything.
Dude, the guy from Jurassic Park, who's the dude? Like
Which one? Nedry?
Nedry.
Nedry? Nedry's
Jed-
the one who gets eaten by, or he gets his stomach.
Jeb Bush.
Yeah, Jeb Bush.
No, he's like the main, not Jeff Goldblum.
Not Goldblum. The other guy who's
The other main guy.
Yeah.
He's like the really into dinosaurs
Yeah,
guy.
that guy.
So that guy's like the sheriff on Peaky Blinders.
that guy's the sheriff on Pete. How old is he now?
He's pretty old. He looks pretty good though.
Is he short?
He's got a
He
mustache.
feels like he's short.
He's
to
got
me.
a cane.
Nice. He probably needs the cane now.
He's a
'cause
true
so old.
adventurer.
Wait, not the old guy with the cane.
No, not that guy.
Not that
the other
guy.
guy.
Yeah. Who's like
He's
don't
like-
move guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sense movement.
You've bred raptors.
Jenny's favorite movie.
I'm really excited to bring. It's a first for us. We're having a wholesale business forum.
Hey!
Some of our accounts are coming to Santa Cruz to visit. It's going to be a really. It was Charles's idea.
Yeah.
So just give respect to the man of the Chuck. We got an Airbnb for the day, and it's two parts. It's one part where people can learn from us and the things that we do, but we hope to learn from them as well. And it also serves as a forum for people who own businesses to be able to talk in a safe place about the challenges of owning a business and some of the hard times that you might face, but you don't really feel comfortable talking to your employees with, or you don't necessarily feel comfortable to talking with people who don't own businesses because they might get the wrong idea
Right.
about where your head's at.
Yeah.
And I totally vibe with that because sometimes I'm so stressed out about certain things, and there's potential for you to talk to a regular person about that, and they'll be like, Chris doesn't even like what he does.
Yeah, no doubt.
Which is not the case. And the reason for the most part, at least for me, that you have so much anxiety around those things is because you do like what you do. And because you do like have this vision and you do want it to be perfect. And that's why it becomes stressful. But
Yeah, it's easy for people to misunderstand frustration and dislike,
yeah.
which I get, but it's like I have that. Yeah, it's so funny. You'll go into stuff. Sometimes I'll do it with like the team leaders, and I'll be like, just so you know, like I'm really into all this. I'm just frustrated right now, and I'm trying to like get through it. And I mean, my team leaders are epic and support that, but we're hoping to provide that same safe and private space for these really, really epic wholesale partners of ours, and to just have some open communication and be able to mutually help each other to grow. So we got some cool topics we're going to talk about with them, and then they're going to be able to share a little bit. We're going to all share 3 wins and 3 challenges from the year and kind of talk through those things. But who's coming?
Well, we got Hawthorne was going to come, and then Dylan just had like a gnarly week, so he couldn't come. So I just need to shout out Hawthorne because they're OG and they're going to be there in spirit always. But from San Diego, also Blue Lagoon, who is another account. And
Fresh out the gates.
Fresh out the gates. They're hot. They got an awesome little grab-and-go coffee spot. There's seating inside, too, but it's a really great spot to stop if you're on the way somewhere.
Yep.
It's in La Mesa, and I love – it's total sidebar, but I love to see Dylan from Hawthorne and Jack from Blue Lagoon are just like totally getting along and totally promoting each other's places on social media and giving shout-outs. And, like, for us, that's where it's at. That's the
family
magic
thing.
We got some people from my hometown of the Modesto.
Who's coming from
Preservation has been ordering coffee from us for quite a while, and it's been in the run. So they're going to cruise down. The Valor had an issue getting over here, but shout out to Valor, who they moved from a cart to a full blown I don't know if it's a pop-up. It's like more than a pop-up, but they have a standard location.
It's more than a feeling.
So if you're in the Atlanta area, if you're in that Georgia Tech area, you need to check out Valor Coffee.
Get some.
Minotti's is coming.
Which
is melting my mind. If you're in Venice in Southern California, right by the boardwalk, and you need to get some Cat and Cloud, you can now get that at Minotti's.
Go see our homies.
Nicely, Derek, Brandon, the whole crew over there, and that has just been coming online in the past couple weeks.
Yeah,
and that's been kind of a dream come true. So if you watch any of the stuff that we do, it's been no secret that we've been fans of theirs for a really long time,
forever.
And even in that coffee book that just came out, both Jared and I have testaments of what's your favorite coffee shop in the U.S. And this was a year or 2 ago.
Yeah.
And we shouted them out.
It's the truth.
And if, look at the YouTube, look at the things so I'm when they came on, I was both thrilled and scared at the same time.
No doubt.
Because literally this was my favorite place to get coffee in the U.S. And then the excitement of being able to work with someone who you really look up to and
we just have a good time with them.
And have a good time with them. It's like multiple levels. It's like a level of respect with a level of fun.
Yeah.
It's pretty tight.
It's kind of like mixing friendship and business, and you're so nervous because you want it all to work so well.
Yeah. And then we felt this weight. I was just like, oh man, even though I know it's going to be awesome, but it's like, whew, now.
You just don't want to let your friends down.
You don't want to let your friends down. That's a big part of it. You don't want to let your friends down, but you don't want to ruin your favorite coffee spot.
Totally.
Which I don't know how you could ruin your favorite coffee spot by serving your coffee in it.
Yeah, because we love our coffee.
But there's that mystique to going somewhere that's your getaway spot. Does that have anything to do with you?
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh man, is it going to be different now? But just in the last couple of weeks of talking with Nicely and Derek in more depth, it's not going to be different, and obviously it's going to be fucking badass.
It's the best.
We hit them with a real last minute, but they're going to be able to come down too. And there's a whole stack of people, and I'm just I don't even know. I don't hear about a lot of people doing stuff like this, but I think a lot of people should do stuff like this because I think there's power to be had in the communities that you build, and people think of community in the sense of, oh, you're a neighborhood coffee shop. You live in my neighborhood. You support my business. That's community. And it is. But there's community to be had in wholesale, too, to where, hey, we should be part of the family. We serve Cat and Cloud. Maybe Dylan has a problem that someone like Jack is more equipped to deal with than we are.
Right.
And then because of coming together, being able to bond and share an experience, they can hit each other up and not have it be weird, not have it be like, hey, I don't know what to talk, Well,
and we also we don't picture, I actually kind of hate the term wholesale because...
Well, that's why we call it partner program.
Yeah, exactly. And the reason is it should be more than that. It's not, the community is the people that work with you and around you. And so for us, it is adding to the family. It's great. We have another brother, sisterhoods, people coming on that are going to be with us and go towards something with us together. And it's going to be fun to spread that positivity and shouting out Minotti's. They are a positive company. They have always omitted. They omit positivity. Just see ya.
Take it out of here.
No, it's like
gone.
everywhere. It perforates out of their building, and you walk in, and that's why we've always had such a good time. And Nicely is a big part of that, and he's been a big part of that positivity and specialty coffee for a really long time for me. So since early Verve years for me, he and I have had a cool connection, and yeah, I'm pumped.
There's so many cool things to be had out of those partners because I think it's just so much I don't know. I get freaked out every time because we do stuff really well. And then I see these little things. Like we went into Hawthorne last time and they did a really awesome job of setting up their branding. Their
super great.
Their merch game going to the register, like what you would consider like impulse buy merch, like branded items, nailed it, knocked it out of the park. So that's a cool idea. That was inspiring. Going to Minotti's last time, he had a bunch of cookies. It was like their most popular cookie already pre-bagged up in pastry bags. So they're just ready to go. And I was like, that's
can't wait
brilliant.
to eat that cookie when I get down there.
And when we went to Jack's, the Blue Lagoon, Jack's place, his whole bar is built out of it's built out of a stainless steel frame with plexi bottoms. You could literally power wash that thing and there would be no muck or mess or like wood rot or anything.
Right.
All brilliant ideas.
Sustainable fun stuff.
Everybody can share together and it's just feels good to share.
It does feel good to share. And I get to go down. It's really cool too because it is happenstance. About less than a week before Minotti's decided to come on and hit us up about coming on, I had scheduled this leadership offsite, and I'm taking our two coordinators, Sam and Nicole, down, and we were planning to go there. So I hit up Nicely, and I was like, dude, we're coming through. If it's your day off, you don't have to meet us at the shop, but we're going to go to Chigusa before for lunch. I'd love to just have you come to lunch with us, take you to lunch, and hang out. And we didn't even know they were going to switch. And then all this stuff went down, and then they decided to switch coffees, and I was like, man, that's so crazy that we get to be those people that come alongside somebody who I was going to come see, and I just was looking forward to showing my team how they roll prior. Now they're going to be part of our fam. So yeah, this Sunday, I'm going to be down at Minotti's with my homies for a minute, high-fiving, and I cannot wait to just drink some hot bean.
More leadership education?
Yeah, we're headed to Disney Institute. Got the next two
DI.
team leaders to be in leadership class all day with myself. It's been just over 2 years since I've gone to it, so I will probably get a lot out of it. A whole bunch of, whole bunch of creativity came out of it the first time, so much so that I think we founded a lot of how our company runs off of the things I learned there and brought back, and we all got crazy. So I'm excited to do it again with a lot more knowledge and see where it takes me next, because we're building some of our own leadership classes over the next 4 to 6 months.
A lot of educational curriculum is about to roll off the line. It's some of the hardest things to communicate, I think. Mm-hmm. What does it look like to be a leader? What does it feel like to be a leader? Mm-hmm. How is everyone always looking at you, leader? You carry yourself in a certain way because of the position you have, and it breaks down deeper than just a checklist or deeper than just to do these things. It really has to be built into your neural pathways. Mm-hmm. So it's something that you're aware of all the time and can act on it all the time. So that's probably going to be one of the more challenging courses that we're going to create. And it's probably going to be a lot of hands-on, a lot of role-playing, a lot of, real life examples.
It's going to be
a lot of case studies. Like I'm excited to dig in and study who are people who are effective leaders of certain movements, and then how do they navigate through their world, and how can we apply some of that into the mix? So that's going to be just freaking amazeballs.
It is going to be amazeballs.
It's going to be spaceballs.
Schwartz is as big as mine.
I've never seen Spaceballs A to Z.
I don't even know if it's funny for real.
I don't know either.
I think
it's Rick Moranis, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's funny all the time. Yeah,
he's pretty funny.
Yeah, I will probably go rewatch that at some point. I probably won't.
Probably not. Yeah,
I think it was funny at the time.
Yeah, I don't know.
About 15 to 20 years ago.
Man, I just started listening to my murder podcast again.
My Favorite Murder.
Gosh,
all you people,
so good.
Yeah, people love it.
You got to get it. Karen and Georgia are basically killing it.
Karen and Georgia always do kill it.
They told a story last week. I just want to share this because my fucking mind was blown. About a woman. Her husband hired someone to kill her. The person came to kill her with a claw hammer, came inside, just straight decked her in the temple right away. And through a course of events over the next 20 minutes, she was able to get the hammer from him, get away. And this is a sad part of the story because it's really traumatically affected her life, but she killed him.
Jeez Louise.
Like, she got the hammer, he got the hammer back, he was still assaulting her, but she just like overcame and like ended up at one point. This is fully tangential, but this is blowing my mind. She had the dude in a chokehold and saw his face like turning blue. And then she let go because she was like, I can't kill a person. That's intense.
Right.
You know, even though this guy was just trying to kill me.
Right.
And then because she let him go, he recovered, got the hammer back, went to work again. And then she ended up getting it back and then just put him down.
She must CrossFit.
And she's wrote and she now manages a bunch of like resource programs. It was in Portland to help people who've been in similar situations. Like, how do you put your life back together after you've been in part of a traumatic event? And like her traumatic event, she survived, but she's like forever scarred by having, you take someone's life. That's fucking nuts, dude.
I'm borderline scarred just hearing the story.
It is crazy. Like, and I'm not doing it justice, but I don't know why I even said that. It was just one of those stories to where it just hit me so hard for whatever reason. Like, how insane that must feel. I can't even imagine. And just like how much, I don't know, awareness you have to have of the situation that's happening to be able to just fucking roll. I don't know, dude. I think me telling you right now and telling everybody on this podcast is like part of me processing like
You're
this
probably
crazy
like, "Oh, I'm
information.
freaking
Dude.
out."
I was just like listening
What if
to
someone
it,
comes for
painting
me?
my room, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, I for sure would not be able to like.
I can't
do
even
that.
listen to that podcast.
It's
dude.
so.
I'm too visual. I get too into it.
Oh my god, dude! I was
disgusting.
just like, what? I was seeing it. And I was like, ew, gross.
Yeah, dude. I'm like, no,
It was gnarly.
no, thank you.
Yeah, so this is the Cat and Cloud Coffee Podcast, and we don't usually talk about murder, but we did today.
Try not murdering anybody, you dicks.
Stay sexy and don't get murdered. That's what they say at the end of their podcast.
Stay sexy and don't get murdered.
SSDGM, dude. Anyway,
SSDGM.
it's Monday when you're listening to this. We hope you all have a great week, and we'll see you at another time. That's Jared's finger, doing that finger flick thing. You like it?